Kalafalayetu, I'm Lasana Saniholo, and here's our news bulletin for tonight. Firstly, the New Zealand government earlier this week announced major reforms to its national secondary school qualifications, which will have a direct impact on Niue High School. The Niue Education Department in a statement said that they will continue to liaise with the New Zealand Ministry of Education and anticipates further guidance in the coming weeks. In a press release this week, the Government Department of Education acknowledged the announcements made by the Government of New Zealand on Monday, the 4th of August 2025, New Zealand time, regarding major reforms to each national secondary school qualification. After more than 2 decades in operation, the National Certificate of Educational Achievements, which is NCEA, will be replaced by a new educational qualification system. According to the public discussion document provided by the New Zealand Ministry of Education, the two new secondary qualifications are the New Zealand Certificate of Education and the New Zealand Advanced Certificate of Education. The New Zealand government intends to roll out the new education qualifications in 2028, pending final endorsement by the Cabinet. Public consultations will start this week until the 15th of September to allow the public to provide their views on the proposed changes. From September to October this year, the feedback from the public consultations will be analysed and identify changes where needed. The New Zealand Cabinet of Ministers will consider the final policy recommendations in November this year. The implementations of the changes will begin rolling out in 2028, 2029 and also 2030. The new Education Department said they will continue to liaise with the New Zealand Ministry of Education and anticipates further guidance in the coming week. Once more information is available, the department will organize community consultations with teachers, parents and caregivers of Niue High School students to discuss the proposed changes and provide an opportunity for feedback. The new education system adopted the New Zealand NCEA system in 2004. On the 4th of August, the people of the Cook Islands celebrated 60 years of self-government. Prime Minister Dalton Tangalangi and Mrs. Tania Tangalangi led a Niue delegations to the celebrations. The delegation includes Speaker of the Niue Assembly Hima Douglas and Mrs. Patricia Douglas, Member for Hakupu Richie Mautama, Member for Lakepa Ronda Sekiato Mailunga, Member for Hikutavake Ian Hipa, and Common Role Member Sinaimana Heko. Also in the delegation are representatives from the Niue Cook Islands community, including former MP Mrs. Mahetoa Heko and 15-year-old Maya Jackson, and other members of the Cook Island Niue community. According to the government press release, this visit presents a valuable opportunity for Niue's representatives to acknowledge and celebrate the close relationships between the two countries. Speaker Hima Douglas spoke to local Cook Island media about the relationship between the rim countries Cook Islands, Niue, Tokelau and New Zealand. We thank Lisa Williams and TPL News for this interview.
Well, I think if you look at our history, we go back a long, long way. Back in fact to the 1900s, when Niue was in fact part of the Cook Island for administrative purposes. But then we separated in 1901 and we went our separate ways. But since that time, of course, we have maintained our contact, and I was very fortunate that when I was just a young public servant, I served my apprenticeship under people such as Robert Rex, Papa Albert Henry, Tupuata Masese, Ratusa Kamisese Mara, and so the relationships forged at that time has lasted. But because we are part of the realm of New Zealand, there's only 3 realm countries. We've got the Tokelau's, the Cook, ourselves, Niue, and the Cook Islands. And I think it's important for us, given the political situations, the dynamics in the region, I think it's important for us to maintain our contacts.
More than 20 young people from across the Pacific are in Samoa this week for the first Pacific Youth Dialogue on Loss and Damage. Representing Niue is Charlotte Mangatungia, who is at the dialogue with the theme Providing our Pacific Youth with a Safe Space to Navigate our Pacific Future. Our senior reporter Esther Pavi is in Samoa thanks to the Regional Environment Program SPRIB. Esther is part of the Pacific media team covering the loss and damage meeting, and she filed this report.
More than 20 young people from across the Pacific are here in Samoa to share their experiences, share their stories about climate change-induced loss and damage. Organised by the Regional Environment Program, SPRIB, this is an opportunity or safe space for young people to speak out about their experiences. At the opening ceremony yesterday, the Director of Climate Change for SPRIB, Tangaloa Kupa, said, "Your voices will be heard." That promise was well received by some of these delegates.
1, 2, 3. 1.5 to stay alive.
Niue's Charlotte Mangatungia is one of the delegates at this youth dialogue.
The opening this morning at the Youth Dialogue was really good. It was amazing and inspiring to see so many up-and-coming youth leaders from around the region or the Pacific region all share the same interest in protecting our culture, our traditions and our way of life, coming off issues like climate change, which is so relevant now in the Pacific, and the impacts of loss and damage.
Pacific Island cultures and traditions are at stake, says Kinley Kenneth from Palau.
It is very important that young people across the Pacific are aware of just how important loss and damage is, not only for the Pacific region itself, but on a global scale as well. Loss and damage refers to the economic and non-economic loss, which refers to not only economic livelihood, but also our culture and our tradition at stake.
Jabeth Guy from Papua New Guinea said that the smallness of the Pacific Islands does not diminish the strength of a collective voice.
I'm glad to be here in this dialogue for youths of the Pacific on loss and damage. I believe the opening session has been rightfully mentioned by our SPREP director, that this is the voice of the Pacific, and especially for the youths, we have that, the voice that will speak up at not only at our local community level, but basically going international. The youth voices as a collaborative effort for the Pacific Islands, what we can bring out to the international stage and tell them that us at the Pacific, we're not only a small nation, but we're very collaborative and a powerful voice as well.
Some of the delegates have had to travel through several countries, leaving their homes for weeks to attend. Anne Albert from the Federated States of Micronesia shares her story.
It's important to engage in loss and damage or the negotiations about climate change, because this is very serious. Back home, we are facing the issues of sea level rise, coastal erosion, drought, but people living in the outer islands are mostly affected by the issues of climate change.
Today is the final day of the Pacific Youth Dialogue on Loss and Damage. As we watch these young people share their stories, they also shared some possible solutions that they hope to take to the regional roundtable next week. Esther Pavihi, BCN News, Samoa.
An accident involving the hospital ambulance while on a call-out yesterday has started an investigation into the roadworthiness of the ambulance as Niue Police and Health Department continue their investigations.
In a statement to BCN News, Director of Health Minerva Ikimau said, "We are still in the process of truly understanding the specific details as to how this accident happened and are awaiting the findings from the police department and an assessment of our ambulance vehicle." The director confirmed that no one was injured in this unfortunate incident. Fortunately, no one was injured, and we have gone through the appropriate process of ensuring all those involved, the patient and the staff, have been managed and provided care for appropriately. Minerva Ikimau would like to extend her gratitude and that of the health department to those who helped assist the staff to extract and move the vehicle.
The Secretariat of the Public Service Commission is taking applications for the New Zealand Manaki short-term training on Pacific diplomatic training for 2025-2026. This opportunity is for 2 successful candidates to study in Wellington and posted in the Pacific Island country on a short-term training program.
The Pacific Diplomatic Training course will be delivered on a full-time basis over 2 modules. The New Zealand Wellington-based module will start on Monday, 17 November 2025 and will complete on Friday, 5th December 2025. The Pacific-based module of the program will commence in March 2026. The location and exact dates are to be confirmed. Former scholars who have attended any short-term training funded by New Zealand need not apply. Terminated New Zealand scholarships and students withdrawn from the New Zealand scholarships and completing their 2-year stand-down period are not eligible to apply. Applications will close on Sunday, 24th of August.
And for sports tonight, the Niue Tuamotu Rugby League hosted Fuel Tasmania from Niue Auckland Rugby League over the weekend. Fuel Tasmania's in-country mission was focused on the development of rugby league on Niue. Since his last visit in 2019, it was an opportunity to showcase the development and the future plans that the committee had for the growing sport on the island. New Zealand High Commission, Her Excellency Olivia Thornkamp, the Minister of Social Services Honourable Sonia Talangi, and the key stakeholders discussing opportunities for the future development of rugby league in Niue. Tuamotu Rugby League also organised grassroots rugby league training for the students of Niue Primary School, where Fuel Tasmania was very pleased with the number of kids interested in the sport. On Saturday, the 2nd of August, the Tuamotu Rugby League hosted the Pacific Youth Cup trial matches for the under-14 boys, open girls and open boys from Niue High School. It was an opportunity to showcase the development of rugby league at the secondary level and the first ever female rugby league match ever played in Niue. All 3 categories played an amazing game of rugby league showcasing heart, determination and the level of skills developed here in Niue. Phil returned on Monday, a very successful in-country mission. Niue Tuamotu Rugby League would like to thank Phil for accepting the mission and travelling to Niue. Tuamotu would also like to thank the sponsors and the rugby league community here on the island. The Niue Tuamotu Rugby League will be hosting the annual Tafisi vs Motu Rugby League series, with the first match kicking off on the 30th of August. The curtain raiser will be the BYC Girls 9-a-side match, which gives our young female players another exciting platform to showcase their talent. And that's our news bulletin for tonight. Losana Sonihalo signing off for tonight. We'll be back again with our news in Wangahau on Tuesday next week. Monwe Naipo, join us again, same time next week.